All right, welcome back to another episode of the 28-3 podcast. So the 2-0 Saints are going to be taking on the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. So, a lot of things to like coming out after the Panthers game. Some things we need to work on. The biggest thing we like, we're 2-0, heading into Green Bay against an opponent who, I think we feel pretty good about. Given the way we played.
They should be 2-0, but they fucked up against the Falcons here.
Yeah. Nick, what do you think about the Packers?
Overrated, probably.
Yeah.
Jordan Love's played pretty well, but they've played very, very conservative. This one, I like the matchup for us. They're basically a running team now that passes and play actions off of it.
Yeah.
And Jones is still maybe nicked up. Maybe he's out next week. Maybe he's back.
Watson hopefully out.
Watson was out this week. Might be out next week. Dillon doesn't worry me with our defense.
Yeah. He's
Jones,
slow.
a little bit more so if he were to be back. So, again, we talked about it before the Panthers game. Stop the run, and let's see what happens. Make Jordan Love beat us down the field. Yeah. I don't think he can do it. If we make him do that, it's a good matchup. If somehow we end up through the Kamara suspension 3-0,
amazing.
This season is teed up for us.
I mean, you're right. Historically, though, you have any personal feelings about the Packers?
Hate them. We remember what year was that? The year after we drafted Ingram, I think it was.
No, you're talking about the year we drafted Ingram because I was at the game in Lambeau Field.
We gave him the ball on the 1 yard line to win the game after Colston fumbled earlier in the game, and Ingram fumbled on the 1 yard line after we traded 2 first-round picks for him, and we lost a high-scoring game where we ended up having I think a really good season that season.
That was the best offense in Saints history season, the 2011 season.
Yeah.
It was the year after the Packers won the Super Bowl.
This is the year we drafted Cam Jordan and Mark Ingram in the first round.
Yeah.
We give the ball to Ingram. He fumbles. We lose the opening game. We end up not with home field advantage by 1 game.
Yep.
After Colston fumbled and Ingram fumbled in that game. That's the year we went to San Fran and we lose that game with the 4 turnovers. I think Pierre got hit in the head.
And if we win that game, we would have curb stomped the Giants.
Right. So this is the biggest missed opportunity. So
we got payback.
I hate those motherfuckers.
Even though we played them a lot since then, we got payback.
Yeah, that one hurt. Well, let me say this, though. From that season, having been at that game that he's referencing, first game of the year, defending Super Bowl champion, defending against a Super Bowl champion from 2 years before, amazing atmosphere in Green Bay, amazing game to go to. Lambeau Field, if you're a fan of going to check out, other stadiums and all that, Lambeau has to be at the top of the list. Awesome game. Great. Not a great finish.
Yeah. We were the better team.
They
ended up a higher seed because of that game.
That's a good point.
And they lost to the Giants in Lambeau in the playoffs.
You've told me about – this is a good point just to get into it because we're playing there. We don't play there all that often.
I prefer to play there in September than December.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. The weather should be it should just be
perfect.
Beautiful.
Perfect football weather. But you said it about the way the stadium is – in Green Bay, right?
Oh, God, dude. It's
tell me about that. You've told me about it, but tell me again.
I'll lay it out for people, and I'm assuming most of the people that listen to us live in the city. Lakeview, where the St. Dominic is. Picture if the Superdome was where St. Dominic is.
We're not. Well, Lakeview's kind of bougie now, so even Metairie, right? Between West Esplanade and Vets, kind of maybe.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is picture if the stadium were right in the middle of one of the most prominent neighborhoods in the city. So if you took the Superdome and you transplanted it where St. Dominic is, right by Harrison Avenue, and you were just surrounded by houses, and these houses have decks. Their roofs have basically viewing decks where they can watch the stadium.
Oh, so the stadium sits that low that these houses can actually...
Yeah, but these houses are set up literally so all the people can look at the stadium.
How many stories are these houses?
No. They're one-story houses.
You can't see
but they all have decks on them so they can just see the stadium.
They can't see the field.
For cocktail hour at night. I got you.
We literally spent 5 hours before the game walking around this neighborhood, and people were just inviting us in and trying to, give us beer and cheese or whatever the fuck they eat over there. It was a great time.
Cheese curds, come on.
I think it's
cheese curds, yeah.
I'm picturing school buses driving by on even though it's a Sunday.
There might have been some. But I mean, look, we took a shuttle from the airport, or not the airport, the hotel to the stadium, and we're asking the guy, we're like, "What's a good restaurant to go check out on the way to the game?" He's like, "Well, there's the Applebee's over at on the corner of Fifth and whatever."
Get you a presidential margarita at Chili's.
Yeah, exactly. So the dining scene, not much there, but the going to a game in Lambeau is fucking incredible. It's NFL history. There's the Hall of Fame underneath the stadium. You go through that whole thing, like. 10 out of 10 would recommend, even though we lost. Amazing experience. Have to cross it off the bucket list at some point.
Yeah.
Back to the original point.
I was going to say, we had to get that part in.
Back to the original point. Fuck the Packers. Because that season, which should have been the crowning achievement in Saints history, being the best offensive team ever, this juggernaut that rolled up more yards than anyone else, us losing that game was the turning point between us having a first-round bye.
No, that cost us a Super Bowl.
It cost us a Super Bowl, yeah.
Because we would have been the 1 seed if we won that game.
Right. And we would have played the Giants.
There's no one who was beating the Saints at home that year.
We would have had the Giants in the divisional round. We would have had the Giants, who we skull-fucked at home that year.
And that was the year the Patriots weren't as good as they normally were, but that the Giants beat in the Super Bowl. And we would have walked to a Super Bowl.
So violation of skulls notwithstanding. Let's take this into 2023. Okay?
Yeah.
So what do we have to do?
I want to say one thing real quick before we get into the actual game.
Nick wants to stay there. Okay.
The schedule. No. This is this year, 2023.
Okay. All right.
If we win this game and go 3-0 without Kamara.
Yeah, that was going to be what I was going to get into. Yeah.
Let's look at what is right down the road.
What we got?
Tampa Bay.
At home.
Winnable.
At New England.
Winnable.
Tough game. Very winnable.
It's always tough in New England.
Look, we're favored Tampa Bay at home. We're favored in New England.
Yeah.
For sure. At Houston, we're favored.
Yeah.
Jacksonville at home.
Jesus.
That's tough. Jacksonville's going to be tough.
At Indy, we're favored.
Jesus.
Bears at home, we're favored.
Jesus.
The whole season is on the table. If we go 3-0 here, this was a tough start because we didn't have our best offensive player.
Yeah. Honestly, it's a theme with the whole league. I mean, the AFC games out of that stretch are the ones that give me the most concern because I agree with being favored. Let me just say that. If you're going to say win-loss favoring, I would favor us. But
I'm not saying you win them all, but
going into New England is one of those games where
New England doesn't scare me, dude. Especially after watching me last night. Just
New England. Well, I don't know. Should they or should they not?
Quick.
Because the Dolphins with a juggernaut offense just could not seem to pull away last night. And that's I think
that was more Tua missing some throws than anything else.
Dropping a snap on a QB sneak. There was a lot of stuff.
Did Carr play a whole lot better than Tua this week?
No, not this week. But
I think it's the Belichick effect, which is what
just real quick before you make that take.
All right,
4 straight AFC teams: New England, Houston, Jacksonville, Indy. What's our record? Just if you just had a guess.
2-2.
Worst case scenario, right? Best case scenario, what are we?
4.
Yeah.
So
if we go 3-1, let's say we beat Tampa and then go 3-1, and we're 7-1.
Oh yeah.
I mean, anything's possible.
We're gonna be rolling,
right? It's crazy. So
then my original prediction is looking pretty fucking good.
It is. So let's not underestimate how important it was winning these 2 games when
huge.
We've got a new quarterback.
Yeah.
Getting the feel of the offense. We don't have our best running back. 2-0 is a big deal.
Yeah.
Let's not underestimate that. This game is big because it looks like Green Bay is going to be in the playoff hunt. This could be a seeding thing. They could win that division. Maybe not. Detroit's tough. But
I think Green Bay's in the playoff hunt more because of their division than a wild card possibility.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think, I don't know. But
it still could be a seeding thing either way, right?
Yeah, it's an NFC game. So, but it kind of to your point from 2011, it's like you never know. Or actually, in our history, you kind of do know what games are the ones that are going to come back to bite you in the ass. And so, just like you said, it was important for us to go 2-0. I think we had our tough win against Tennessee. We had our game we were supposed to win against the Panthers. I mean,
but on the road.
It was on the road. That's what I mean. But like we were still supposed to win it on the road. And by and large, it looked like a solid 2-score victory until they played prevent defense at the end. And you could kind of put that touchdown in the garbage time touchdown category. Now, that's why you say that, this Green Bay game, it's a team you're supposed to beat. When we think we have a team that has playoff potential, the games you're supposed to win. I know it sounds simple and sounds, just elementary, but you got to win the games you're supposed to win. And this is going to be a game like if we.
This is a 50-50 game, though, right?
But look at the difference between a win this week, you're 3-0 with a home game against Tampa coming down the pipe and the favorable matchups you said coming after that. You don't win it, you're 2-1. Then the naysayers start creeping in and saying, "Oh, Bakers look good."
Well, you're one loss away to Tampa, just like you said. And you're 2-2, and right in the division.
The difference between 3-0 and 2-1 in this context, I think, is huge. It makes the win that much more important. And I think teams say it all the time. When they have a loss, they're like, "Well, there's a lot of things we can learn from because we lost." It's a L in the column, but we can learn from it, But it's so much better when you can have a win you can learn from. There's a lot of shit we can learn from that win in Carolina.
Winning without your best player is amazing.
Yeah.
So I still believe AK is our most dynamic player on offense. The hardest guy to defend, the hardest guy to scheme for. 2-0, 3-0 would be outrageous, if you ask me. We all talked about it before the season. Yeah. I don't even think Max, with his crazy, 15-2 record,
14-3,
had us 3-0 without AK. Maybe you did. I think you had us losing to Carolina.
I think you maybe did.
Or Green Bay.
No. I had us winning to Carolina.
Did you have us beating Green Bay?
Fuck, I might have. I think I got us to
either way. He was delusional. He was on Quaaludes or something.
You say that right now. You're going to be on the train next week, pal.
If they go 3-0, and this was, in my opinion, not an easy part of the schedule because we all know how Tennessee plays. It's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be an awful game to watch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We all said it. Derrick Henry, they're going to just mash all game. You're going to have to slug it out and be out physical them to beat them. We did it, barely.
Yeah.
Then on the road to a really good defense, a place we've lost, the last 2 seasons?
Yep.
You
and
win
they swept us last year.
Right? Swept us last year. No one thinks they're a contender. We all know that, but that's not a bad team. That's a very solid team.
Still got to win it.
To win both of those games and to go to Green Bay, if we come out 3-0 with 2 road games at a difficult spot, I mean, the season is wide open, in my opinion. Like, we're talking high seed in the playoffs potentially.
Sets you up. Right. Yeah. What do we think are... We got some, Max?
No, I was going to say we should probably dive into the categories here.
I was going to say, what do we think our offense is going to look like next week? We got 2 weeks of it. 2 weeks of our offense. We saw what they've done. One against a tough defense.
All right, well, I'll kick us off with this. So
it's like
we've struggled offensive line first 2 weeks. So this week against Green Bay, what I'm looking for is for the offensive line to just get a little more consistency and cohesion as a group. Yeah. Give me a consistent push for, I guess it's going to be Tony Jones Jr. again, and hopefully Kendre Miller.
Maybe like we said last episode, Taysom Hill gets in there.
Pending what's going on with Jamal Williams, realistically, you're probably looking at a lot of Tony Jones Jr., hopefully some Kendre Miller. We're 1 week away from AK. Just give me a consistent push and just don't get Carr killed. We've talked about it on the last few pods. The biggest responsibility the offensive line has is to not get the quarterback killed. And they are not doing a very good job of that the first couple of weeks in.
Yeah.
Carr, for the most part, especially in the second half of each game, has been lights out. But, man, the first half, especially right before half, 2 almost back-breaking interceptions in week 1 and week 2. Cannot have that this week. I watched most of the Green Bay Atlanta game last week. Green Bay had a lot of opportunities. They dropped a few interceptions from Ritter. If they would have caught him, the game's probably got a different result. We're going to have to be able to establish the run because Atlanta ran all over them.
Yeah.
Bijan had over 100 yards. What's his name? Algier had like 70 or 80 yards.
But let's be honest. They sat on the ball the whole fourth quarter, and they let that game go.
Oh, they did. They did.
But they're a better team than Atlanta, in my opinion.
They absolutely are. But the thing is, you can't count on them letting the game go.
Kind of like they didn't do what we did this week. Like they didn't put it away.
Right. So
they were up 12 with, 9 minutes to go or something, and then just 3-and-out punt, 3-and-out punt, 3-and-out punt, and let Atlanta steal that win. It was
from what I saw at the end of the game, they don't trust Love yet in that clutch situation. They're not going to, say, hey, go out there and win the game and close it out. Like, they're going to go old school and say, run the ball.
Yep.
We'll get, 2 first downs and finish it off. So we're going to have opportunities no matter what's going on in the first part of the game. We just need the offensive line to block. Just block for the running game. Do not get Carr killed. I want to see, we talked about the passing game today, like, air it out. And we saw a few glimpses of it. They threw a deep pass to Olave. He caught an amazing catch. We saw Shaheed again with another deep catch. We need more of that.
Give Carr just
Get
a
the tight
second to
ends
throw.
involved. Give me some Juwan Johnson. Give me some Jimmy Graham in the red zone. Give me some Foster Moreau.
Yeah, there's still far less of the tight ends this week. And I mean, it's past
They have
week,
been
Carolina.
non-existent through 2 games, which is very atypical of a Derek Carr-led offense.
Yeah, and it just makes you wonder if you had you had good safeties for both Tennessee and Carolina. Between who Tennessee had, but then we look at Carolina.
Jeremy Chinn's amazing.
That's what I mean, Chin, and then Von Bell's Von Bell, but he can still buck up against the tight end
Their defense
if he
played
needs
great.
to.
Yeah, their defense played great.
What I kind of wonder is, we know that the Packers, I think they have some skill in the defensive backfield on the edges. I wonder if we're going to have, I don't want to call it a reprieve because that almost sounds like a break, but going up against their D-line versus what we saw against Carolina and Tennessee, and then going up against their safeties, linebackers versus what we saw in the first 2 weeks, I almost wonder if there's more that could open up against this team.
Well, Tennessee's probably the best defensive line we're going to see all year.
Yeah, they really could.
Carolina, honestly,
Might be
is an
second.
underrated defensive line.
Might be second.
They got some young hosses.
Yeah.
So Green Bay's got some players on defense.
But
Look,
one sack against their.
But here's the deal.
Ritter,
Here's the deal. If we're going to go where we want to go and where we think we can go, the offensive line has got to step up and fucking win some one-on-one battles.
Yeah, they can't play like this.
They can't play like this
in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We'll
Green
lose.
Bay has some
Point
high
blank.
draft picks.
Yeah, they do.
But I don't know if their front seven's that good. It didn't look good last week.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's be honest.
I
didn't.
think
It
we
got
might
pushed around.
finally have a little bit of more of it. Like, let's just say it's our offensive line playing the way they've played the past 2 weeks. This Green Bay team strikes me as maybe more of an even matchup if we can even play at a
This
low
is the
quality.
third best front seven we faced over the 3 weeks. It's for sure the third best.
Yeah.
Now, in the secondary, I don't think they can match up with our skill players. They have, Jair's there. He made
Stokes.
lockdown wherever he goes. That's fine. After that, big advantage us, I think.
Should be.
But that's only if we protect. So, I think it does come down to the offensive line. I think our defense will fare pretty well against their offense. There's no receiver that absolutely scares you over there.
No, well, if Christian Watson plays,
Great, good player, but you put Vlad on him. Are you worried? Not really.
No, but he's big and he's fast. Lat usually crushes
so is
the big
Lat.
physical guys. I wouldn't call Christian Watson physical at all. Like, he's a finesse player and a
But Lat's
6'4"
fast,
body.
too.
I think we saw a little bit. Well, I mean,
Lat should lock him up.
I know we're going to get into defense in a little bit, but
But let's talk about defense right now.
Let's
do
dive into it.
what I was going to say about if I'm thinking about our defense and our defensive backfield keeping up with their wide receivers, just like we talked about, the offensive line putting out bad tape based on what they did against Tennessee, allowing Tennessee to run the stunts and get around our guys, confusing Penning, confusing Hurst, or even the guys on the other side. There were a few plays in the Carolina game where, because they know that our DBs are physical, right? They know that if Lattimore locks up on a guy one-on-one, Alante, same thing, Adebo, it's tough. But they started taking their wide receivers, and if they saw any cushion at all, they were running them across the field. So I wonder if those younger receivers for Green Bay have the speed, once they get a crossing route going, to outrun our guys on a crosser, because that might be the only way they really.
Watson's the only one who has the speed to do that,
God
but
bless them if
he's
they think that's how
50-50
they're gonna
play.
win. I don't know. Our guys are fast.
Well, look, I'm going to say this. This game kind of worried me at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Because Jordan Love was an unknown and,
So real quick, Corey.
three or 4 years in the system. But, now, from what I've seen in the first 2 weeks, I mean, our defense is lights out.
Right. What worries you about the Packers? Let's go there. What worries you about the Packers offense against what we have? What is really concerning?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a worry per se, but I think if anything were to go awry or go bad, it would just be. It's really only based, like kind of like on Max said, only on their potential. You know, if they like we said about the Panthers game, you know, we not our defense, but I think maybe overall, definitely the offense was like a C effort. So if, let's just say our defense brings like a C, just you know, shit happens. They bring a C effort, and then the Packers have a game where they just happen to play to their full potential, and their young wideouts play to an A effort, and Jordan Love, maybe the game slows down because we're out of position or something. You know, that would be the only concern, is that our guys just have an off day. You know, because it's the NFL, right?
I think that's on the table any game.
You can't, right? But other than that, you know, I think matchup for matchup, there's no real.
They don't have an advantage anywhere.
There's no matchup concerns.
No.
That's what I'm saying. My only concern would be
Lattimore's better than their best receiver. Adebo matches up fine with Dobbs. Alante matches up with anyone in the slot they put. There's no risk there. The only player I see as a potential trouble is Jones. Jones is a tough matchup because you're going to have Teron or DeMario tracking him in the pass game. You're going to have to fill, you know, because if he sees a crease, he's gone. Huh?
What's his injury?
I think it's a hamstring.
That is perfect. There's Linger.
Right. So, and he was out this week. There's a chance he's out next week. That's the only guy in their offense that worries me. I don't worry about Love. I would love to see a spy Love because I think giving him those scramble plays could hurt us.
My concern with Love is that if we don't respect his running ability and say we kind of do more of a dime than a nickel package, if we think that we can pin our ears back with the 4, you know, like Granderson has another big game, Cam's doing Cam things, and then you mix it in. The guys, look, the interior defensive linemen look great in the Panthers game. You know, you let Brzee do Brzee things, and Saunders gets back there, Shepard's in there, Passignon came in. If we're looking great with 4, and DA thinks like maybe I can drop a dime package in there, next thing you know, Love gets out. He might have that annoying ass 10 to 15 yard scramble. That's maybe a concern, but then again, like these are the concerns we're talking about. We're not talking about the concern is that it's Trevor Lawrence. He's going to tear us to pieces. You know, the concern is that
but Lawrence isn't even in that category.
But no, that's what I'm saying. Like that's the good thing about this game.
And that's the best quarterback we might play,
right?
Stafford and Lawrence.
So I say concerns, and concern sounds like a negative word, but like. You know, the concern is potential. Not
from what I saw this past week, they don't trust Love during crunch time.
Right.
They were still in this 1980s mode of handing the ball off 3 straight times, hoping to get 10 yards to close the game out.
Yeah,
he didn't get it. He lined up in the wrong spot one time, slid over to the right and fell down.
And I tell you what,
was over.
If that's where they go,
A.J. Dillon does not scare me.
A.J. Dillon's so slow. It's like at this point, like Nick said, he doesn't scare me. Our guys will eat him up. DeMario will kill him.
He's a very poor man's Derrick Henry. Very poor. And that's the thing. If they go to that Love thing where they say we don't trust him in crunch time, then you take full advantage of that. That's when you say, okay, we got him on the ropes. Let's put him down.
Love at this point is basically a late first season rookie. In that he's like a couple of games ahead of Bryce Young because he's been around for 3 years, but I mean he's not much ahead of that.
He's played great for what they've asked him to do, but they haven't asked him to win anything. Yeah. They've asked him to manage the game.
Yeah.
Against our defense,
he hasn't seen this yet.
No,
I didn't check the schedule, but did Green Bay open up at home? Because if not, it might be their first home game.
I'm pretty sure
they were at Atlanta last week,
right? But they opened up at home. I want to say.
Who'd they play? It was a close game. He played well again in that game. But
this is going to be their
Aaron
first.
Jones went nuts in that game.
That's the only thing. If maybe
what game was it? Who'd they play?
They opened up at Chicago, so this will be their first home game.
They played no one. Let's be honest. Atlanta is a bad offense, and they made Atlanta look like a good offense in the second half.
They let the Bears put up 20 against them. You know?
The Bears
are terrible. Yesterday. I'm just going to tell you, Justin Fields has been.
That's what I'm saying.
The biggest disappointment in the league so far.
He's awful.
They let the Bears put 20.
And then Atlanta, they had by 12 points with less than 10 minutes, I believe. It was a bad performance for them to let that game go. If we win this, and we should, I think we're favored in this game. This is like a Saints -1 would be my guess in this game with Vegas.
Should be another road favorite.
Barely.
Yeah. I mean, the line's going to change between now and the game, but yeah.
But they haven't looked great. They're very conservative. Aaron Jones does worry me. He won the Chicago game by himself, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hamstring.
He's not going to be himself, right?
Yeah.
I agree. So,
I mean, the hamstrings kept Kendra out.
Lucky for us to catch him without him and Watson also hurting at the same time. Maybe
Hamstring
he's coming
well.
off an injury, coming off his hamstring. Catching both of them, maybe that's just lucky with the schedule. I feel like we should win, but if we lost, would it be shocking? No. I'd really like to see the offense score. I think if we score 21, we win the game.
Loss would be
21 points wins.
No, I mean, we're playing with house money at this point because no one expected us to go 3-0 with Kamara missing. So we're at 2-0 right now. So 2-1, I would not be upset with. 3-0, I'd be ecstatic with.
What do you think, though? What's your point total?
Let me ask you this question.
Let's go ahead and dive into predictions.
Well, before that, would y'all be disappointed if we lost?
I'll always be disappointed with a loss.
Always, if we lose, I'm disappointed.
Yes.
But I mean,
yes,
when you know the other team is like.
No, I'll be disappointed with a loss. Seeing how the defense has played in the first 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I will be extremely disappointed.
Like we should have won.
I think we should win.
Yeah,
I think we should win.
Yeah. Okay.
In the NFL, on the road, at a very difficult place to be on the road, could you lose? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So to that point, it's prediction time.
Let's do it.
You think we should win?
Yeah.
What's that score?
21-16.
Okay.
Give us offensive and defensive MVP. You said 21-16?
Yeah.
God, we're going to be close on this one, dude.
21-16. I think we finally score in the red zone. I think they struggle in the red zone against our defense. Slow, boring game again. Offensive MVP. I'm going to go Shaheed gets a long one. Goes
Should have been last week for me, but
4 for 88
So
with
are
a
you
touchdown.
Are you just telling us about Shaheed's stats while you put off your prediction, or are you saying Shaheed's your offensive MVP?
No, I already gave you my prediction. 21-16.
No. Why you put off your MVP prediction?
because I asked him to.
For what? For the game or for?
Who's your MVP? Are you saying?
No, we're
Shaheed's?
saying offensive and defense.
No, I was going to do both. I was going to do offensive and defense.
That's what I'm saying.
Defensive, I'm going to go Cam. I think we're going to force them into some third and longs, and I think he's finally going to get there. He's been really he's played great the last two games, and I think he's just missed a couple big plays. I'm going to go Cam goes like 5 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble.
Are you writing these down?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Overall game MVP, I'm going to go Carr breaks out of it, goes for 280, 2 touchdowns. He's not going to turn it over this game.
Ooh.
And we win 21-16.
Okay, so you're saying
My overall MVP's Carr.
okay.
And he said Cam is defensive.
Cam's defensive, but the biggest impact player is going to be Olave. As far as not Carr's my MVP.
Okay,
But shouldn't that mean Carr is your offensive MVP?
yeah, it sounded like you were starting.
You're kind of hedging your bets here, pal.
That's what I thought you were getting at when you were
you
talking
got
about.
it can't be both of them.
If you're not going to let me pick 2, I'm going to take Carr, 280, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers.
And Cam is defensive.
Cam's defensive MVP.
Okay,
Carr's the
21-16.
overall MVP. We scored 21.
You said 21-16.
21-16.
All right,
You go next. What you got, Corey?
Yeah, I mean, I think Green Bay's offense has a lot more potential to score than Carolina's offense. So, but I agree with Nick. I mean, I think it's a week where our offense figures it out. So, I'm going to go a little bit out on a limb here. Give us. I'm going to give it a
Build up the suspense, why don't you?
31.
Ooh.
Holy shit.
30-going game. Okay.
31-21 game.
So I'm going to say Carr is his
Wait.
MVP.
No, 21's too high for the defense. 31-17.
Okay.
Same score as Super Bowl. So that's I just feel like
So
I don't know.
Who are the MVPs? Who you got?
You know, I would go. I want to agree with Nick about Carr. We're not scoring 31 points without Carr looking great, for one. There's not a running back that's going to be the MVP. The only other player who's going to be an MVP in a 31-point situation is Olave, because he just goes off. So you know what? I'll go with Olave. Offensive MVP. Defensive MVP. I'm going to go with Alontae Taylor.
Hey,
I think he
stole your guy, man.
oh my God.
I know.
All
I feel like this matchup sets up better for him. He kind of settle into his position a little bit more with Jordan Love, maybe sneak into some passing lanes and also come off the edge when he's not expecting it.
Catches the ball this
But I think
You're writing these down,
Olave. I think Olave got a taste of the big play with Carolina.
You're writing these down, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't really speak to stats. I mean that's tough to call, but
Make something up.
No, you don't have to. Just give us your MVPs. That's it.
but yeah, I'm going with so 31-17 Saints over the Packers. The overall MVP is going to be Olave, and then defensive MVP is going to be Alontae Taylor.
So what's Olave's MVP game look like? Just a guess.
I mean, it's 9 catches minimum, and he's going
Like 100?
maybe like a 1. Got to put him in. I would say like a 120. But like
Does he score?
2 touchdowns because of deep
2?
passes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's a call.
Yeah.
Let's see
like
it.
it.
Yeah. It's a lot. I know it's a lot.
15% of his career total.
But
I'm here for it. Let's do it.
yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right.
Max,
well,
who you got? Wait, Alontae, did you put any stat?
I
Tackles,
think Alontae's got an
pass
INT and a sack.
Ooh.
Love it.
All
Love
right.
it. I called it this
like
week. It didn't happen,
Yeah.
but he tried.
He almost had it.
He almost had it. All right. Well, I think I'm going to go. I think we all say Saints win. I'll go ahead and say score is 23-16.
You just
I
price
think-
it righted me, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think
Max is catching on here.
He's like,
No,
he tried to do that last week, didn't work.
look, we get 2 touchdowns, 3 field goals. I think Groupie continues his run of kicks.
Wait, Groupie's your MVP?
No. I said Groupie continues his run of kicks. He's going to have 3 more field goals.
All right.
I think we give up a touchdown, but 23-16, my prediction for final score. Defensive MVP, I'm going Lattimore. Lattimore
Yeah.
had a very easy week this week. We'll go ahead and say he took himself a little vacation.
Sure.
Next week, he's going to bounce back. He's going to pick off Jordan Love.
he's been dominant so far.
He's been dominant. I'm going to say he picks off Jordan Love twice. I'm going feisty with my
picks.
predictions this week.
All right.
You're making that Lattimore all-pro.
I look, you've been trying to manifest it for years through your purchases of
He
his
deserved it the
cards.
year they gave it to that fucker from Atlanta. I'm sorry.
So
AJ.
absolutely.
So let me clarify. So, okay, so you're saying Lattimore's
So
your
I'm saying 21-16.
Yeah, got
Mark
that.
that down. I'm saying Lattimore,
overall?
defensive MVP.
Okay.
Actually, probably the overall.
Yeah.
2 interceptions.
If you pick off 2, you're the overall MVP.
Yeah, he's the overall. Offensive. This is where we're going to go ahead and we're going to go off the reservation on this
He's
one.
going Kendre. He's going Kendre.
I'm going Kendra Miller.
Okay.
Makes it on the field this week.
What's he do
So he's going to have one of the best rookie debuts.
in the history of the NFL?
No, he's not.
Okay.
But
He's Gale
gonna
Sayers,
go-
basically.
Kendra goes 101 yards,
That's
Wow.
2 touchdowns.
it's probably a short list of rookie debuts for 100.
So Carr
No, there's
throws
a lot of
0
them.
touchdowns in that.
Jesus
just
Christ,
there.
come on. Mario Bates, 141 yards, rookie debut. Come on, let's be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Very first game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
He did do that. Max loved Mario Bates. He finished the year with like
I love
600.
Corey, just so you know,
FYI,
I loved
that was
Mario Bates.
25
Let me
Corey,
just-
just so you
yards
know,
for you.
He's a player I remember.
100-yard debut is not a big thing. It happened a lot.
Okay.
Multiple times in Saints
It's
history.
still a big thing. It's still hard. to
Not as much as it used to be.
Seems like a big thing.
But I'm going to go ahead and say that Kendra plays this game, and then we kind of minimize this Tony Jones usage. And then since
better.
we refuse to use Kirk
Well,
Merritt.
I think we're all on board with him taking all of Tony Jones's carries.
Well, and I think if you listen back to one of the preview pods, I think I say right around this point, I'm like, this feels like the game where Kendra Miller is
Yeah.
going to come out and
think you
just
did
You
kinda
didn't know it was
assert
due
his-
to injury, though. You thought it was due to roll in offense.
No, I thought he would have done it sooner because he would have been playing, but
Yeah.
I didn't expect Jamal Williams to be this non-factor that he's been so far. But I think the offensive line gets their shit together this game. Green Bay's been a little bit softer on defense. Bijan Robinson put up 100-plus in a secondary role, just tearing their asses apart. Algier put up some yardage. Jordan
Yeah.
Love put up some yardage. This team is ripe for the picking when it comes to running the ball. I think Kendra Miller comes in, gives us a little spark. We win. Boom. Done.
Cool. Well, we will see how this plays out. Yeah, it's a big game. Difference between 3-0 and 2-1 is a big.
3-0, baby.
Big difference. So, Saints going to Lambeau, looking to go 3-0, and that's going to do it for another episode of the 28-3 podcast.
Who dat?